Hello everyone and welcome back. Dito sa video natin ngayon, ang pag-usapan natin ay ang tinatawag na marketing core story. So ano itong marketing core story? Ito yung kwento, ito yung parang information na ginagamit ng mga marketers or mga salesmen para mas mabenta nila yung produkto ng ating kliyente. So this is what I am working on. I spent like a couple of minutes yesterday beginning to write it and then beginning to research it. And the tools that I use are just Google. And then I would write down ano yung saan ko nakuha sa Google, saang mga websites ko nakuha yung information. Okay. So it's just like an article except you are using yung mga experts positioning na framework, yung 11 na expert positioning frameworks that I discussed in the previous videos. So this process, I originally learned it when I watched the recordings from a 5-day na seminar by Tony Robbins and si Chet Holmes. So Tony Robbins, you may have heard me mention him before, he's a self-made billionaire. He started being a very poor person, living in his car, not having a home, living in his car and working as a janitor. Then he eventually worked hard and he worked smart and he learned from people who were very good at what they were doing, and he patterned himself to what they were doing, and he also succeeded. Si Chet Holmes naman is the vice president of Charlie Munger. Okay, so si Charlie Munger is a very successful person sa US. He is the partner of was that Warren Buffett, I think? Yeah, I think that was Warren Buffett. Tingnan natin. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Ayan. So, vice chairman siya of Berkshire Hathaway. So, control diyan siya ni Warren Buffett. So that's where this process is based from, and I just use those 11 principles that I shared with you. I use the principles from Dan Kennedy as well, yung Ultimate Sales Mastery, and of course I use the principles from UBMS. And so that's what I'm doing here, and I will send you a copy of this also, so you can see what kind of content is produced. And as long as you know those 11 principles, yung experts positioning, yung education marketing, you will begin to see in this article na dito pala nagamit sa first part yung 3 T's of training. Yung tell them what you're going to tell them, or yung summary. Then number 2, tell them the details. Then number 3, you tell them the recap. Ito pala yung first na letter T, that tell them the summary, and then you tell them the details. And then, of course, wala pa yung recap. So, idadagdag ko pa. And then, you're gonna see me use the dual readership path, meaning there are 2 types of people. One are the people who really read all the details isa-isa. And there's the second type of person who loves to skim. Meaning, gina-skip niya yung mga details, tingnan lang niya itong headline, tingnan niya itong summary, tingnan niya itong mga bullet points, tingnan niya yan. And those are the second type of person na they are skimmers, S-K-I-M-M-E-R. So they are nagmamadali, gusto nila kunin lang yung main points, they don't need to get all the details. So I will be writing a little bit and showing you how I add the content. So right now I am here in learning disabilities in children. So I would go inside Hindi pala. Nandito pa ako sa unhealthy culture is promoted in the media to make money for investors. Ayan. So, what I found just a few minutes ago, is that the spending on junk food ads, mga advertisements, is 27 times more than government spending on health ads. Tapos yung mga big pharmaceutical companies yung spending nila continues to increase. And so I would get this. It's not yet a very strong source kasi sa Daily Mail siya. So ideally, ang Daily Mail kasi is more on, it's just some opinions, and ideally I would look for ano yung references nila dito so I can double check that, or I would look for ano yung pangalan ng study. So there's one study here that I can use, a study done by Cancer Research UK. So I would go back inside Google, Cancer Research UK, then I would type junk food ads, or okay, right. So ito yung report nila. So this is the source that I would use. Ayan. So teens likely to crave. Ito yung pwede natin gawing title, or itong title nitong report pwede rin. Which is this one is probably gonna be better. New evidence on TV marketing and junk food consumption amongst 11 to 19-year-olds 10 years after broadcast regulations. And I would type that again. And we also want to put the date na na-publish yung study, or it was last updated. So it's January 2018. 2018, January, and Cancer Research UK. Bless. Blessing. Pwede pakipasok ng pusa. According to the Cancer Research UK, children who watch more than 3 hours of commercials are more likely to eat hundreds of extra junk foods. 27 times more than government spending health ads. So, dagdagan natin ng yung number, which is later pwede natin yan i-superscript, meaning i-highlight mo yung number 6, tapos I think nandito sa font, kasi click mo itong superscript. So again, i-highlight mo yung number 6, i-click mo yung, i-right click mo tapos yung font, tapos superscript, then okay, para liliit siya. Ang meaning yan is meron siyang reference na makikita mo dito, itong number 6. So ang next ko hanapan ng ano is yung Big Pharma. I just remembered something, and I wanted to mention to you na this is a topic na na-research ko na before, just from personal na personal knowledge, personal research, personal hobbies. So sometimes when I write, I'm just pulling thoughts from all those things that I've researched before. Some of the books that I've read are the China Study. It's a study involving really a lot of people doon sa China, and na-find nila na there are certain patterns. Depende sa kinakain ng tao sa isang lugar. Iba kasi yung food. Sobrang laki ng China na country, and then each region has different sets of food. And so there are certain areas na more prevalent yung one particular type of disease because they're eating certain types of food, and there are other areas na mas prevalent yung other types of disease naman because they're eating a different set of food. And another study is by the same author of the China Study is whole. Ang point niya is if you want to live healthy, you have to eat whole food. For example, it is better to eat brown rice instead of white rice, because the white rice, you are stripping away yung an important part of yung rice, and ang natira is yung refined na siya, yung processed na siya na rice. And another example is the brown sugar is better than the white sugar. And one reason why those are better according to itong mga studies na ito is because you are getting more fiber, and then hindi siya agad ma-absorb into our bloodstream kasi nga fibrous siya na food, na it takes slowly siya ma-absorb imbis na mabilis ma-absorb yung calories. Kasi kung mabilis pala ma-absorb yung calories, mag-spike up yung blood sugar mo, and parang you're gonna eventually become diabetic from that. And the point na I'm sharing this with you is it's good to have a client na aligned doon sa hobbies mo, doon sa passion mo, and which is the case in this particular client. And another book that I base some of my ideas from is the nutrition and physical degeneration. That's from Weston Price. And the China study, I think that's from T. Colin Campbell. Not sure if I read that right. But those are available in Amazon, and you can also watch a documentary about that in YouTube. So when I'm writing here, you might be wondering saan ko kinukuha yung ideas. That comes from a background of studying the health industry. And there's also some documentaries about weight loss, about health. So sometimes when I write here, suddenly meron lang akong isulat na hindi ko inexplain saan ko kinuha. That's something I got from here, and then I would just research it again para makuha ko yung specific na reference. I would use Google again. So definitely it is a plus if you have a background in when you are writing and when you are creating the marketing core story. It's definitely a plus if you have a background in the subject, in the topic that you are working on. Yeah, and then this part here where the big pharma spending continues to increase on their products, I think I watched that in one of the documentaries by Michael Moorer. Forgot his name. Michael Moorer siguro. Yeah, no. Baka Michael Moore documentary. Yep. Michael Moore. One of his documentaries is, I think, Sicko. And then there are other documentaries that I watch, and I can no longer remember saan ko nakuha yung idea. But that's where this paragraph comes from. Big Pharma spending continues to increase on their products. So the next challenge is getting the reference for this. So Big Pharma spending okay, so we can use this. Then I would use ideally I would use another source para at least hindi lang isa yung basis natin. 90%, okay. Since my author siya, we are going to cite that author. A was 2015 February 11. let's look for another source. And when I added it here, I'm it's just gonna result to just one sentence probably. By having this reference here, pwede ako makadagdag ng isang magandang sentence dito. Tapos gawin nating reference yung 7 tsaka yung 8 na nandyan sa reference number natin sa baba. And you will notice that when I write, I don't copy paste. It comes from memory, and then I just speak it. I just get the main points and put it in my mind. Then isulat ko based on what I understood using my own words. Now, sometimes I may accidentally use similar words, but since it was around several minutes ago na binasa ko yung number 7 na study, and then several minutes ago since binasa ko yung pharmaceutical study sa BBC, so I no longer look at the original na reference. I'm just recalling yung naalala ko na main point. I don't need the other details, I just need the main point na kailangan. And Let's see if I can still get some ideas. I wonder kung merong 2017 para mas recent. But seems maganda yung na-research ko kanina kasi galing siya sa government. So, trade.gov. So, this might be something that I can use here. And I'm just skimming. And then okay, I want to look for this 86. So I'll do a Control F for find. Control F. And I'll look for the number 86. Okay. Napatay ng ibang sources kasi parang iba yung pinag-uusapan niya. Tingnan natin sa Statista. Okay, sa 2014, according to Statista, the total pharmaceutical revenues worldwide has exceeded $1 trillion. Okay. So let's remove this and get the data from Statista. And since wala siyang author, let's just get the title. And it would be good to have a secondary source para ma-confirm. Okay, so let's try here sa Big Pharma and Big Profits. Okay, I can't use anything here since iba yung direction niya. It's more on vaccinations in particular, and I'm not sure how I can integrate that here since we are talking about yung dangerous trends in children's health. And I'm looking also for yung mas more recent. Since 2012 siya, I would like for it mga 2016, 2017, 2015, pwede pa. Grabe ito. I'm considering adding this kasi what they found was that yung mga members minsan ng committee may conflict of interest na parang somehow tied sila doon sa big pharma industry, and they might be receiving some compensation. Ginagamit nila yung position nila para ma-approve yung mga policies na makatulong sa big pharma industry. So in this case, 64% of committee members merong conflict of interest na potential. So parang minsan ginalaro lang nung mga rich corporations ang mga laws sa government para mas madalian sila siguro Yun yung na-find dito sa HHS Inspector General Report is posible talaga. So this is something that I can use. Big Pharma pumps over 3.5 billion annually into TV, newspapers, and advertising. Okay. In marketing, with over 3.5 billion spent annually for advertising. And let's see, December 2017. I wonder kung nagamit ko ba yung sa Statista. Yeah, 1 trillion US dollars ang revenue nila. I wonder pa paano to i-cite. Later ko na lang. Libog kasi yung although gistudihan namin yan nung high school, nung college, paano mag-cite using different formats. Yung references na mga formats, yung merong MLA, merong ALA, APA pala, APA, MLA. So in this case, I'm just following kung paano gi-format nung client yung other references niya before sa other book niya. So, 2017 December 2, vaccines are big business, retrieved from 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, tsaka 10. So profit-oriented, big pharma spending. Okay. So, tapos na itong unhealthy junk food culture. Next is, let's look at the learning disabilities in children. And one of the things that I watched comes from YouTube when I was typing children's health. It's the video called Kids in Crisis. So
in just 7 weeks, they were all hitting the yes buttons, the on buttons for the good genes, and look what can happen.
I'm gonna put this in the references also and see what ideas I can get from this video. And some main points as I am doing this task is you will see gaano kabagal yung progress. There's a lot of reading, there's a lot of going back to Google and looking for another reference kasi parang hindi tayo sure kung yun lang yung base natin ng data. At least na-confirm siya on another source. And I remember my teacher back in college na one of the best sources for data are journals. So I wonder, meron kayang mga free science journals online na pwede nating mabasihan. So at least meron. We might get some studies from there, pati sa NHI ba yan? National Health Institute on Children's Health and Junk Food siguro. National Health Institute. Ito pala. NIH, National Institute of Health. And just look at the conclusion. Nutrition. Okay. And let's look at the conclusion dito sa dulo. Yep, so ang conclusion niya is maganda sana na healthy yung options doon sa schools. However, grabe yung availability ng unhealthy na food, mga junk food, mga soda doon sa mga schools. So mahirap kasi nag-compete yung healthy pati unhealthy na food. Maganda sana kung yung choices puros healthy. Healthy choice 1, healthy choice 2, kesa yung you are letting the children choose healthy and unhealthy. So, we'll take this study here. However, even in schools, the effects of healthy lunches and whole foods are undermined because of the wide availability of unhealthy food choices in schools. So ito yung magiging number 11 na source. Bevans, K. Paano kaya mag-cite pag marami? Et al, ganyan siguro. Example. Definitely helpful yung mga lessons back in high school and college. At least hindi ako zero yung knowledge, kahit malimutan ko man, I can at least have a clue. So parang ganito, Sharp et al. Period. Okay, Sharp arrow. Okay, sige, let's try that. Bevans, Sanchez, Tenerali, and Forest. Tapos yung date, which is July 1, 2012. I wonder, since 2012 siya, I'm gonna go back inside Google again and junk food policies in schools in the US. I'm wondering kung baka nag-change na yung mga policy sa school. Ito 2012 pa rin. Meron siya sa Los Angeles siguro to, LA Times. Okay, so at least meron na siya sa California. I wonder what's the situation in the rest of the world. So at least in January 2013, let's look at what this article. So at least alam natin na foods. This was later addressed by the USDA when they banned junk food from schools. As part of the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act. Let's look at meron ba bang mga fast food banned in schools, US? Anyway, so you've seen a portion of the process, and it's very long, and I will still continue repeating the same process, and little by little, mas maraming important things, important information na nalalagay dito sa ginagawa nating marketing core story. Eventually, I am hoping na this will become a book, and this will be published under the client's name, and at least maraming matulungan ng mga tao, because I am working on at least one book for the client. I might suggest that this will be another book for them. So that's it for this video, and see you in the next video.